Hey, this is Steve from Flowmaster. I'm happy to introduce our new Delta Force cold air intakes for the 2015 through 2017 Ford Mustang GT equipped with a 5.0 liter motor. Now our Delta Force cold air intakes have a washable, reusable high flow filter that already comes pre-oiled, a black powder coated heat shield, a durable polyethylene intake tube with a nice rib design on the Flowmaster logo right here in the center, reinforced silicone couplers, all stainless steel hardware, anodized fittings, and they're 100% direct bolted into the factory mounting locations. Now these are backed up by a lifetime limited warranty, and the tools required are 3/8 drive wrench, 13mm socket, 10mm socket, a short extension, 5/32 Allen, 5/16 nut driver, 7mm nut driver, a Torx T20, a Phillips screwdriver, a pair of pliers, 13/16 wrench, 5/8 wrench, and a 7/16 wrench. All Flowmaster products are dyno tuned during the development phases for maximum power gains and efficiency. Now I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get this installed in the vehicle here. Okay, we're in the shop. We got our 2015 Ford Mustang Hearst sweepstakes car here, and now we're getting ready to do the disassembly on the stock airbox. So let's get started. We're going to start first with the engine cover here. We're just going to pull up on it, and then going to pull up on the back. Just slowly walk this thing out. Okay, we're going to start by disconnecting some lines to the stock air intake tube. So you got one right here, you got another one, you got another one, and one more right here. And then we're going to disconnect the sensor. We're going to remove the one bolt that's holding the air box down, and then we're going to loosen the clamp off the throttle body. Then the whole stock air box assembly is just going to pick right up and it's come as one unit. So first we're going to start with this vacuum line right here. We're going to press down on this little button tab and we'll unlock it and just simply pull. Then you got another one right here, same thing. It's got a little tab right here. We're just going to push down and pull. Okay, next we got this one right here. This uses a clamp. They're going to have to use a pair of pliers, squeeze the clamp together, and then wiggle this hose off. And then next, there is another one right here. It's got a little gray plastic tab. Spring the little gray clip back, and it'll just unclip. So it pushes it all out of the way. And next, we're going to disconnect the sensor right here. There's a little tab underneath. Just going to have to squeeze it, and this will unplug. Next, we got our 10mm bolt right here. We're going to go ahead and remove it. Okay, once that bolt's out, we're going to loosen up our clamp off our throttle body. Now the intake tube should just wiggle right off. Okay, now we're ready to take out the whole air box as one unit. We're just going to pick straight up on it. Okay, we got our stock air box out. Now we're ready for the assembly on the new Delta Force cold air intake. Okay, we got our Delta Force cold air intake laid out on the table here. We're ready to go ahead and get started. So we're going to start first. We're going to put on the air filter adapter. We're going to put it on to the heat shield. So we're going to put this on the inside. Now on the back side, we're going to line up 3 holes. Now with the supplied hardware, we're going to go ahead and put the Allen bolt. It's going to have a lock washer and a flat washer on it. And go ahead and get this started. Okay, get our air filter adapter into our heat shield here. The next step, we're going to go ahead and attach the brackets. This is going to allow the cold air intake to mount to those factory mounting points on the vehicle. So first one we're going to start off with is this little one right here. Now how this is going to go, this is basically how it's going to look inside the vehicle. We're going to put this bracket, and it's going to line up like so here. And then this will basically bolt to the factory fender well of the vehicle with the factory 10mm bolt that we removed off the stock air box. So we're going to go ahead and start with an Allen bolt. And then now on the back side here, we're going to go ahead and put a lock washer, a flat washer, and then the nut. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just snug it down. We want to leave this bracket a little loose so there's a little bit of adjustment once you go put it in the vehicle. Okay. So the bracket should roughly be pointing straight down so it lines up with that fender well. So the next bracket we're going to install is going to go right down here. Now this bracket is going to attach the box down to the bottom of the frame rail. So when this sits in the vehicle, this bracket's going to go on the back side, and then it's going to line up with the frame rail going straight down. So it should look like that. So from the inside of the box, we're going to go ahead and put the Allen bolts. And then after that, on the back side here, we're going to go ahead and put the lock washer, flat washer, and then the nut. Okay, now once we got this bracket snug down, again, we want to leave it loose for a little bit of adjustment. So that's how it should look when it's in the vehicle. Again, we got a little bit of adjustment here, so we'll final tighten up this bracket once it's installed in the vehicle. Next, we're going to go ahead and put the gasket onto the heat shield. Now the gasket will come in an excess length, so you may need to trim it to fit your heat shield. So we're going to go ahead and start here at the bottom and work all the way around. Now when you put your gasket on, you want to make sure that bracket is loose enough to where you can slide the trim underneath just a little bit. Okay, we got our gasket on our heat shield. Now we're ready to go ahead and put some parts onto the intake tube. Okay, we got our intake tube here. We're going to go ahead and put on our hose adapters. We're going to start with this big one first. It's going to go on the top port on the intake tube here. Make sure you have some Teflon tape on your threads. And go ahead and just screw them in. Now with our wrench, we're going to go ahead and snug them up. Now when tightening these up, you should never exceed more than 8 foot-pounds of torque. That's a lot for the little fitting. So just make sure you snug it up by hand. You don't need to go crazy tight on these things. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and start with the smaller fitting here. This smaller one's going to go underneath. And again, it's got the Teflon tape on it. And we're going to start it by hand. And we're going to finish tightening it up with our wrench. Next, we're going to put on our 90-degree elbow. It's going to go on this corner edge right here of the intake tube. And again, make sure you have the Teflon tape on it. Just going to screw it in by hand. Now, the clocking position for this should be pointing back towards the throttle body. This is where the throttle body is going to be. It should be pointing back towards it. So, again, with our wrench, we're going to go ahead and snug it up. Okay, so roughly that's the position that 90-degree elbow needs to be in. Now we're ready to go ahead and get our stock air box back up here. We're going to go ahead and take off the stock sensor and put it in the new cold air intake tube here. Okay, we got our stock air box here. We're going to go ahead and take off the sensor. And this is going to use a T20 Torx here. So we're going to go ahead and unscrew this. Okay, we got the screws undone. Now the sensor is just going to lift straight out. Okay. Move this out of the way. Now the stock sensor here, it's got a small little gasket. We're going to go ahead and just peel this off. So there's your stock gasket. It's going to get replaced now with our gasket. So we're going to go ahead and slide this guy on. Now with our supplied screws here, we're going to go ahead and install the sensor. Okay, now the sensor is installed into the new Delta Force cold air intake tube. Now next we're going to put on the silicone couplers onto the heat shield and onto the intake tube. Okay, we're going to put the silicone coupler onto the air filter adapter that's on the heat shield here. Now we're going to go ahead and just press this on. Make sure it butts up against the backside of this heat shield. Now we're just going to go ahead and snug down the clamp. Now we're going to leave these clamps just a little loose. So again, we allow some for final adjustment once in the vehicle. Okay. Now next, we're going to go ahead and put the silicone coupler onto the intake tube on the throttle body side. And this one here with all the little vacuum tubes, this is going to be the throttle body side. So we're going to go ahead and just push this on. Okay, now we're ready to get our heat shield installed in our vehicle. Okay, we're going to put our heat shield into our factory mounting points on the vehicle. Now the first mounting point is going to be right here. This is where we remove that 10mm bolt. We're going to reuse that. And then down below here under the frame rail, there's a hole that's got some threads on there. That's where this bottom bracket is going to go. So we're going to go ahead and slide this right down in there. Okay, with our stock 10mm bolt, we're going to go ahead and start this guy. Okay, I got it just snug right now. I'm going to put in the second bolt. And it comes in the supplied hardware kit. It's going to be a bolt with a lock washer and then a flat washer. This is going to go through the bracket into the frame rail. Okay, now we got both of them started. We're going to go ahead and tighten them up. So I'm going to start with the bottom bracket down here first. Okay, next we're going to tighten up this top bolt here. Okay, we got our brackets now secured down to the factory mounting points of the vehicle. Now we're going to go ahead and secure the brackets down to the heat shield and give a final tightening. Okay, we've got our heat shield securely mounted to the vehicle. Next, we're going to remove this hose with this little filter adapter. And it's going to basically come off this diaphragm right here. So we're going to go ahead and wiggle it off. Okay. Now in our kit, we have a supplied little cap, and it's just going to press on there nice and firmly. Okay. Now next, we're going to go ahead and put our intake tube in place. Okay, we're ready to put our intake tube in. We're going to go ahead and put it on the air filter adapter side. And push it into the throttle body. Okay, next we're going to reconnect our vacuum lines. We're going to go ahead and push this first one in. Wait till you hear it snap. Then we're going to go ahead and connect the smaller one on the bottom here. Okay, and next we're going to connect the valve cover breather. Till you hear it snap. Next we're going to go ahead and reconnect the sensor here. Okay, next we're ready for the air filter. Okay, we've got our air filter here. Just go ahead and slide it in place. Push it onto the air filter adapter. And we'll tighten it up. Okay, next is we're ready for the engine cover to go back on. Okay, that concludes the installation on our new Delta Force cold air intake for the 2015 through 2017 Ford Mustang GT equipped with a 5.0 liter. The installation time here was roughly about an hour. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our Flowmaster YouTube channel and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.